From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Afternoon Edition.
A new team is sowing roots at the Coliseum. One player tells us what it means to be a part of a new era in Bay Area sports.
Just feeling their love and support and the love and support of the city, the town. I mean, it's been incredible. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
A massive disruption for flights across the world after a fire forces a shutdown at Europe's busiest hub. Frustrated travelers back at SFO after spending 10 hours on a flight back to where they started.
The mystery of how we might get home is kind of keeping us going, but I don't know how long that's going to last.
And later, a big win for Boeing thanks to the Trump administration. Details on what the White House is calling the most lethal aircraft ever.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built.
Well, thanks for joining us this Friday afternoon. I'm Ann Magabic, and the madness has begun. Basketball fans are celebrating right now in the East Bay. The St. Mary Gales just beat Vanderbilt in round one of the NCAA tournament. And our Kara St. Cyr live in Moraga with more on this nail-biter of a game. Kara, crazy.
It is all smiles on St. Mary's campus right now, but I've got to tell you, earlier it was really tense. People were nervous. They were down by 2 some 8 minutes into the game, and after that it was kind of, is it going to tie? What's going to happen? And it was, you could see the emotion on everyone's face. And someone that was holding on throughout this entire game was President Thompson. How are you feeling right now?
What a win. Never in doubt. Never in doubt.
All right, so this is the 4th time that the Gales have gone to this first round of March Madness. So how does it feel to watch them win this go-round?
You know, it was terrific. What a gutty performance by the guys. We trailed most of the game, but, you know, our defense, we shut them down. It started to get tough to get a bucket, and the Gales got rolling, and on we go to the next round. Should be fun.
All right, so I do have to ask you. So midway through this game, the second half, it was a nail biter. I literally saw someone actually biting their nails. I'm not making that up. So, I mean, what part were you the most nervous about? Like, or was there a part where you were nervous at all?
Well, you know, we have been a really good second half team all year. And, you know, we struggled a little bit the first half, but I felt confident Coach Bennett and the team would get rolling in the second half. Took us a little while to get going. But, you know, once we took that lead, we started to kind of put the squeeze on them a little bit defensively. Shots got tough for Vanderbilt, and that's what we characteristically do to teams. So it was a great win. So much fun. And we had a packed crowd. I mean, the pub on campus was full. It was a great atmosphere for college basketball.
And I love that during the game, I talked to you earlier, and you were saying that we are going to come back in the second half. Yeah. We're going to make it. And you kept that confidence the whole way through. Yeah. So how is your confidence for the rest of the season? Do you think that this is going to be that Cinderella year? Well,
you know, the NCAA tournament's all about survive and advance. We just survived and advanced. And, you know, now we'll play the University of Alabama, and they're a terrific team. But, you know, they looked a little vulnerable in their first game. And I think our guys now have adjusted to Cleveland, and it ought to be a whale of a game. Can't wait to see it. But I think the Gales I think we're going to go on a little run here.
All right, so beat Bama, that's the mission. Thank you so much, sir. All right, so you heard it here, and people are excited, and they are pumped for that Alabama game, and they think they're going to be able to take it.
All right, even non-basketball fans here in the Bay Area can get behind it. It's our hometown team. Thanks, Kara St. Cyr. Well, we are also entering a new era for pro sports in the Bay Area. And the Oakland Coliseum, it's been sitting empty since the A's left town last year. Well, tomorrow, a new soccer team is kicking off its season there. The Oakland Brutes, they are moving in. Amanda Harry talked to one of its players who is very excited to be a part of this new era of sports in the town where he grew up.
A rally at City Hall to celebrate the Roots will be back at home in Oakland at the Coliseum. A significant move for goalie Kendall McIntosh.
Just feeling their love and support and the love and support of the city, the town. I mean, it's been incredible. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
McIntosh is a veteran soccer player. It's his first season with the Roots, but he has more than a decade of professional experience. And it all started in Oakland, playing for Montclair Soccer in elementary school.
When I was coming to the team, I had to unearth a bunch of those pictures. And it's unique going through all those old boxes with my parents, finding the old memories.
As a kid growing up in the town, he was a fan of all things Oakland sports. At the time, the Raiders, Warriors, and A's all called the Coliseum grounds home.
Growing up here, having season tickets to the Raiders, to the Warriors, I never would have thought that I'd have the opportunity playing soccer to be in the Coliseum.
Saturday, McIntosh and the rest of the team will play the first of at least 17 games this season in the historic arena. Vice President of the Roots Public Relations team, Tommy Hodel, says they're expecting a big crowd for the home opener.
Seeing a soccer field down that looks this nice is really, really awesome, and cannot wait to see 20,000 to 25,000 plus filling the stands up.
Hodel says the field has seen almost no action since the A's left, and they're excited to resurrect the space.
It's been pretty seamless. We do have to change some things logistically of like where camera positions are and how entrances and exits work, but for the most part, the building has hosted some of the biggest sporting events in the world.
McIntosh already knows in his heart it'll be significant to step on the field to play for the first time.
It's going to be emotional, but it's going to be electric. I know Oakland's going to show out as they always do for their teams, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this history. I know the boys are buzzing.
At 31, McIntosh is nearing the end of his career. He hopes to spend what's left of it at home in Oakland. He says he has big goals for the season, a championship for the team and the city.
Hopefully we can show the resilience that Oakland really has. We can emulate that and reciprocate that and get the results that the city deserves.
Solidifying their roots in Oakland with the hope of unlimited growth.
Flights are resuming at London's Heathrow Airport after a fire at an electrical substation knocked out airport power for most of Friday. Police still aren't sure what caused it, but they say there's no sign of foul play. 120 planes had to turn back while others closer to London were diverted to nearby European cities. Several flights from London to San Francisco had been canceled, and at least 2 flights out of San Francisco had to turn around and come back. British Airways passengers lined up for hotel vouchers. But in another part of the airport, we met Jeff, who flew in on a different airline.
So we've been in the air for 10 hours. We're in exactly the same place. We landed here. We weren't given much information by Virgin Atlantic. We were pointed towards a hotel. When I called them up to check there was still space, because I imagine lots of people would be going there. They seemed confused and obviously said they were full. We've tried to get any other flights out to like a different London airport and have failed at every turn. So now we're just kind of sitting here and seeing what happens.
Yikes. Airlines have canceled around 500 flights to and from the U.S. Aviation experts say it still could take several days to get Europe's busiest airport running smoothly again. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was at the Oval Office today to announce the U.S. Air Force will soon have the most advanced fighter jets in the world, the F-47. Meanwhile, a federal judge challenging the Trump administration over its use of a wartime era act to deport migrants accused of being gang members. Erica Brown has more from the White House.
President Donald Trump announced a new $20 billion contract with Boeing to build the Air Force's next-generation fighter jets.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built.
The F-47 will replace the Air Force's F-22 Raptor and is designed to fight alongside drones.
An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation.
This comes as the president and defense secretary Pete Hegseth denied reports that Elon Musk would be briefed on plans for a potential war with China. Musk was at the Pentagon Friday
to talk about DOGE, to talk about efficiencies, to talk about innovations. It was a great informal conversation. The rest of that reporting was fake.
President Trump also told reporters he has the authority to invoke the Alien Enemies Act to deport migrants without due process, despite a federal judge's order temporarily halting the flights.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
The administration was back in court Friday, and Judge James Boasberg chastised the Department of Justice, pushing for answers about how those who could be wrongfully detained as a result of the deportations could challenge the actions.
Well, today is the day some beer lovers wait all year for. We're going to take you to the North Bay for the highly anticipated release of Pliny the Younger.
And coming up in the First Alert forecast, there is a small chance that we might actually get a stray, almost unnoticeable shower right there. Shows up tomorrow at noon. That's not really a big event. I think the warm-up for next week is, we'll talk about that. We're going back to the 80s for a lot of us who are inland. I'll show you how long that'll last coming up.
Just in time for the weekend, Bay Area beer fans lined up to get their first taste of Pliny the Younger. That is the 20th anniversary of the special blend from the Russian River Brewing Company. Our Veronica Macias talked with fans who said that they were there for the release of the Beast.
Cheers to Pliny the Younger's 21st birthday, now of its legal drinking age, and people from all over the country, they were here for it. Every year, beer enthusiasts line up for what some have rated as the best beer there is. Some in this long line flying in from Chicago, Denver, and some driving for hours to be the first to try the annual release of a triple IPA at the Russian River Brewing Company in Santa Rosa. For a Montclair couple, as in Montclair in SoCal, waiting in line for the Pliny the Younger release is now a 10-year tradition.
I was just doing some research and I found out that the brewery was up north here in Santa Rosa and that they had a younger release in February. And so we're like, Pliny the Elder, I want to try Pliny the Younger. Being a history major and a history teacher, I was like, man, that's kind of cool. And so we came up, we tried it. It was awesome. It was cold. It was a long drive. And we've just been doing it year after year.
Always different, yeah.
I would say it's a little bit better than last year.
Christopher's wife tells us they realized they weren't crazy for doing this after seeing everyone else who was joining in the fanfare.
You have to come to the source to get it. You have to.
And if you want to taste this year's release, you have until April 3rd, and the lines, they tend to be shorter earlier in the week. With a 10.25% ABV, some may want to wait until Friday, though. Fans jokingly calling it the release of the beast. For the pub's owner, even after 2 decades, he never takes this crowd for granted, placing heaters out for people to stay warm as they wait for their doors to open.
Obviously, folks are here for the beer, but it really is about the people. It's about the community. It's the fact that people come back year after year, and it's the it's a family. It's a college reunion. It's a friendship reunion. It's folks that met in line and now have this friendship all around this beer, Pliny the Younger.
The stories he's heard through the years allows him to savor his success. So once inside, people have 2.5 hours to enjoy their 3 beers inside. Then they could take 3 beers to go and then make room for the next group to come in.
Well, that sounds like a party. And of course, we are on the cusp of the weekend, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, it will. There's one small little hiccup with tomorrow. There's a chance for a light drop of rain, which is just showing up in some of the latest forecast models.
Okay.
It's not super likely. Wouldn't be a lot even if we get it, but I don't want you to be caught off guard if we do get it. Look what's going on overhead right now. That's the high-resolution satellite depiction over us. There we are. If you see all the clouds right here, just take a look up at the monitor here with me for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to play through the forecast imagery. And you're going to see a few light showers that show up as we go through Saturday. Wasn't a lot there. There you go, Saturday late morning. Let's put that on the virtual map and see what that might look like as well, just to give you another impression from one of the other models of how this probably will turn out to be not much. But keep your eye on 2 things. Watch, like out near Solano County, and keep your eye on the timestamp, because this is going to be like tomorrow through the late morning. Just a few little blips are going to show up right there. Did you see them? Wasn't much. So don't count on a whole lot from this, but it is going to stay, fairly cloudy, and the temperatures are pretty much going to be right in line with what average would be for this time of year, and we're pretty much doing exactly what we did yesterday. These are your daytime highs. This is Saturday. But what happens over the next 48 hours after this is really the story, because with daytime highs here for Saturday in the low to mid-60s, I'm going to clear this out. Sunday gets noticeably warmer. Temperatures are going to jump maybe 10 degrees on Sunday. And then on Monday, we're going to peak with numbers getting into the low 80s. And it's not just Monday. We're going to do this for 2 days. Monday and Tuesday, plenty of sunshine, not breaking records, but certainly 10, 15 degrees above average for this time of year. And it's going to come on fairly quickly. You will notice it Sunday, but just know Monday and Tuesday is really where this warm-up's going and where it's going to park itself for a couple of days before it starts to come back down a bit. Let me show you how these numbers are going to come down after we do those 80s. In order to do that, let's take a look at the bigger picture out in the Pacific, because there is another chance by the middle of next week that we kind of get back into the storm track. Now, there's not a lot of rain from this. What this primarily does is it puts a hold on this warming trend by Wednesday. Remember, Monday and Tuesday are the 2 warm days next week. Look when this thing's getting here. That is next Wednesday. And that's just the very southern edge with maybe a few light showers that are going to come through. If we get rain, it doesn't look like it's going to be super impactful, but it will bring the numbers down. You'll see that in the 7-day forecast in 1 second. And then there's a chance, if we go real long range here, towards the end of the month, that maybe we get a more meaningful rainmaker. But let's give that one more time to play out before we start getting too hung up on that notion. I just thought it was interesting to see it, because it's kind of nice to see it there. We would like to put some more snow in the Sierra if we could. Here's your 7-day forecast. Partly cloudy skies on Sunday with that shower. Same thing as we go towards Wednesday, but look at the numbers. This is for the Bay. It's really the inland numbers that we want to take a look at. So let's get those on here and take a look at the temperatures climbing here for Monday and Tuesday. And then from 81 on Tuesday all the way down to 69 on Wednesday. And we'll pretty much just stay there for the rest of the week after that. A lot of mid and upper 60s, partly cloudy. More on that late March chance for rain in the next few days when we get close to it.
Okay, and it's interesting that those 80s are not abnormal, because it feels to me early to have 80s.
About 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year, yeah.
Okay, but not crazy.
Not breaking records.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that,
See you
Darren.
later.
Well, San Francisco's Union Square is about to bloom with more than 80,000 colorful tulips, and you can pick your own bunch of flowers for free. Organizers are expecting some big crowds, so they say try to get there early and use public transit if you can. The event for free tulips runs from 1 to 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, and I've heard the lines get very long, so you better want tulips pretty bad if you're going to be waiting in it. That is going to do it for us at 3 o'clock. Let's get a look at what is next on the CBS Evening News with Reese Dubois and John Dickerson.
Are you kicking the tires looking for a brand new car? If so, you may want to move fast.
And Steve Hartman goes on the road to Alabama to see how the coach of the top team in college basketball came up with a winning plan for a student off the court. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And then after the evening news, our coverage of March Madness continues on KPIX with the first round matches. And then stay with us for game day. That starts at 9 o'clock tonight with Matt and Vern. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. You can find that anytime on the free CBS News app. Just go to Live and Bay Area. Thanks for being with us.